Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about my favorite topic, and that is disruption. That's what I invest in, and I'm going to talk about disruption, destruction, and I even created a new word for today. It's called Muskruption and the Muskonomy. So wait till you see this. This will be a new Tesla Weekly because there's so much happening right now. It is insane. We'll be talking about, do a little bit of charting, look at what the analysts are doing, look at what the competition is doing and how they're crumbling, talk about the Chinese ice crusher, kind of stunning too, another new term, and so much. But really, it's just such an exciting time to be involved or on a train where there's so much disruption happening at the same time. We're going to break it all down. So let's jump in. Thank you as well to the mods in the chat for coming. And K8, this is, first of all, shout out to Patreon, make all this possible. Snowman, love Patreon. Thank you so much. Let's go. Let's start with the analysts. Last week I did this. I talked 6 days ago. I talked about how all the analysts were all of a sudden waking up. This one just came out from Benzinga. And they talked about how a new Deutsche Bank analyst, Edison Yu, praised Tesla for its potential to reshape several sectors, including robotaxis, bots, energy storage, automotive sector, etc. And it's funny because I remember the previous Deutsche Bank person, I think they had a target of $120 or $130 or $126, somewhere about there. They hated Tesla, hated. Now they got this guy, Edison. Clever name, like Thomas Edison. Edison Yu. Hope I pronounced that right. And he sees Tesla for what it is. So shout out to Deutsche Bank for hiring somebody good. It's very important to hire the right people. And this is what CNB said. Deutsche Bank names Tesla a top pick. Says it's in a league of its own. Talk about an about face from, I hate Elon, I hate Tesla, it's crap, to hiring a new person who just changes everything overnight. And Edison has a little price breakup, price target, $295 per share. And as a clever analyst, he broke it out as to the sum of the parts. Automotive, $195, energy, $53, humanoid robot, $22, robotaxi, $24, and services, other, $1. So the really, really, really impressive valuation model there. Thank you, The Great Escape, for coming too. Let's look at the chart before we get into all of this disruption stuff, which is insane. And remember, if you are an investor, all the big money, at least what I've seen over the last 35 years, is made in disruption. Getting in early, getting in hard. Let's see where we are on the chart for Tesla right now today on the ATR model. And we are looking real strong ahead of 1010, which is the Robotaxi day. I do believe we'll be above level 4. You can see there, historically, a little bit of resistance at level 4. It's about $251. But I do believe we should be above that by then. The momentum is looking very, very strong. And it's under constant accumulation, which I've also said since late August as well. So buckle in. It's going to be a good ride. It's going to be volatile, just like Bitcoin. We saw a massive V-shaped recovery today as well, just like Bitcoin. You know, the macro news always fades fast, but let's get into it. Let's talk about 1010. First of all, Robotaxi event. How big will it be? Well, Hull Morris catalog, friend of the channel, 1010, will be the most significant moment for Tesla since the unveil of the Model 3, which basically was a mass production vehicle that changed the whole auto industry. And Elon Musk says, in my opinion, yes. Now, Elon sometimes could be given to a little bit of excitement, but they do have something very, very special planned. We don't quite know what it is, but it's going to be exciting. But let's get into the big story. This is the Muskonomy and Muskruption. And shout out to Cern Basher, who kicked me these slides this morning. And part of it, not just Deutsche Bank, but also this slide, I found fascinating because it's how Musk Inc. is disrupting the S&P 500 index, including players like Apple, Nvidia, Microsoft, Alphabet, Amazon, Meta, Tesla, banks, you name it. But how is he doing that with, it's just a car company? Cern has another slide for that. This is the Muskruption Details. And Cern, I hope you don't mind me using the term Muskruption. We'll see if the word picks up. But if you look at Tesla, they are disrupting autos and auto insurance, energy and utilities, transportation and trucking, commuting and travel. People say, how is it interrupting commuting and travel? Well, when you've got a car that can drive itself, that makes me much more inclined to drive longer distances rather than take a plane. Okay? Planes, security lines, delays, cancellations, lost luggage, freaking nightmare. You know, if you're going to get into your car, you'll be there in X hours versus all the messing about with airplanes. But that's how it'll really interrupt short form transportation. Manufacturing and labor with bots, AI chips and systems with DOJO. We'll talk about that too. Cloud computing with AI. And I'm not even talking about XAI, SpaceX, Neuralink, the Boring Company. All of these technologies, all of these companies, all embrace S-curves, and they're all colliding at the same time, and they're all disrupting everything as we go. And remember, biggest AI company, leader on planet Earth is Tesla. Very few people will say that, but that's what they are. They have auto bidder for energy, cars that drive themselves, even their service and collision, it's all AI-driven. Insurance, AI-driven. Robotaxi, AI-driven. FSD, AI-driven. DOJO is AI. It just goes on and on. So that's just a quick refresher there. But let's get into a couple of other things that popped up over the last few days. Tesla bot savings. Tesla could save $500 million a year by replacing workers with robots. That sounds a bit scary. But I'm always interested in understanding the math behind what type of claim that is. And it doesn't come from Tesla. It comes from, again, Deutsche Bank. The cost potential savings of Tesla Optimus robots. Deutsche Bank projects that if a worker will earn $72,800 in the year 2030 and is replaced by a robot, that could save an additional $57,550 a year. And that assumes a robot cost and maintenance of just under $20,000. And if this replacement strategy is extended to 20% of the workforce, the company could potentially save up to $509 million each year. Interesting. Now remember, firsthand, I walked the Cybertruck production line twice, completely automated. We'll talk more about automation in a second too. But this is bonkers, and this is just for Tesla, and this is for 2030. They already have bots, Optimus robots, running around the factories doing productive work, and they'll have somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 of them next year. And then in 2026, they'll be selling them to whoever wants to buy them. The world is not ready for what is coming. Also, DOJO 2 will be in production next year. Elon Musk says DOJO 2 will be in volume production by the end of 2025, and it'll be comparable to NVIDIA B200 chips. Now, there's some confusion between version 2, version 1, version 3, but let's get into some detail as to the top 3 benefits of DOJO and what it can do and how it can change the game. And again, remember, it's just a car company that is in a position to nearly take on NVIDIA. But there will be 3 big tailwinds that I see from DOJO Computer Project. First of all, it'll be a boost not only for NVIDIA. NVIDIA will likely continue to supply thousands of GPUs to Tesla, but DOJO will also contribute to NVIDIA's quarterly revenue as well. Maybe they're working on some partnership. I'm not sure of the exact details of that. Also, there'll be growth for Taiwan Semiconductor. TSM will be producing the chips, and they're doing something very special, very unique, and it's wafer on substrate. And as I'm not a chip designer or chip engineer, I couldn't tell you exactly what that means, but it's unique and it's very difficult to manufacture, and that's why they need the 3rd iteration. And then what'll happen after that, this will help them grow chip revenue at a 50% CAGR, and it'll help sustain the AI infrastructure investment. And Tesla's committed to many DOJO iterations for long-term infrastructure investment, creating ongoing demand for suppliers like NVIDIA and TSM. It's coming, it's happening. So let's look at the Muskonomy, and we'll talk about the Muskruption then afterwards and what's happening to the competition. There's a great chart from Morgan Stanley. Nobody else has this. Nobody else has even 1/10 of what this chart is. It's all S-curves, multiple S-curves, all colliding rapid, sustained growth, disruption across various ventures that all feed each other. It is not by chance all of these things are happening at the same time. It's part of an 8-year vision because this guy Elon Musk thinks 8 years ahead. And you can see the Musk enterprises demonstrate remarkable synergy, and that will really amplify collective impact and value. And that's why many believe as well that the first person to become a trillionaire on Earth will be Elon Musk, probably in about 3 years. So, do you want to ride his train to a trillion? Maybe. So, we'll see. And then we've got all these patents hitting the market all at the same time. What's all this about? So, first of all, this one, Moto89, thank you for coming. Tesla filed 4 patents related to wireless charging mat for vehicles. Da-da! This is unlocking yet another piece of the Robotaxi puzzle. So cars can just go park themselves over one of these mats, and then this mat will detect the car and charge it up at whatever pace it needs to for efficiency, etc. It'll be all AI-driven as well. Short switch to reduce ground leakage, wireless charging circuitry topology, and there's some weird thing with some type of swinging thing. I don't even, again, beyond my pay grade. But they published it to protect it so nobody can steal it for the next 7 years. That's how patents work. But it won't stop them from trying. And even, there's for many years, Tesla was publishing all patents because they know the competition can't even catch up. And we'll get to them in a second too. Also, unleashing more patents. We've spoken about the Unboxed process, but they release the modular Unboxed patent as well. And this is where they will, as a kid, we used to have these little Matchbox cars, and you could break the top off and you see the undercarriage and you could put it back on, and you couldn't because you broke the weld to do it. And then you cried. No, I didn't cry, of course, as a kid. But, you could break your own car. Kids just tear stuff apart. But that's exactly what this is. Let's look at a couple of pictures that I found most interesting. First of all, patent part 1, Fig 8A. You can see here how they will assemble the car. The floor, which is already the way they do it with the Cybertruck, the floor is a battery pack, and they just bolt the chairs onto it. The rear casting is just one piece, and the top body, the front casting, and just slide it all together at the same time. But how can they do that? Because some stuff comes from the back, the front, the sides, the top. Well, that's in the patent too. This is some type of crane structure. And you can see here how the vehicle is constructed across multiple dimensions at the same time. It's like pieces will come in from all directions, from the top, from the sides, from the back, from the front, slam it together, boom, off to the next one. M1, I guess 1M is mezzanine 1, 2F is second floor, and you see the cranes will be in the production line hammering all this together. Again, a very, very small footprint to assemble a car. Unheard of. Normally, there are some car plants that are half a mile long with a production line. This all happens in one place. How all that stuff comes together, though, I don't know, but it's fascinating. Now, let's talk about some other crazy innovation, because this is a story about disruption and innovation. This is what true innovation looks like. This is iPhone 11 Pro, released in 2019. 13, 12, 14, 15, 16. They have new colors. It's amazing. And breaking news, Apple have a new button. You can now take a picture by holding a new button on the phone. That's not going to cut it, everybody. That's not innovation. That's milking your cash cow. That's not changing the game. That's not disrupting anything. Yes, when Steve Jobs was around, they disrupted everything. May he rest in peace. But the funniest troll was this. Huawei trolling Apple on their iPhone launch with a thing called Mate XT. Again, it is spenny, $2,800, but it's a phone that folds out like a newspaper in 3, and you got a big screen device, and it folds back together, and it looks pretty cool. Anyway, Huawei launched that hours after Apple launched their iPhone 16. Brilliant troll. Shout out to Huawei. And this is where you see much more innovation is happening much faster out of Asia, China, Korea than in the Western world. That needs to change if West is going to survive. Also, speaking of the Eastern world, Panasonic, they started mass production of the Tesla 4680. This is a battery designed by Tesla. Now they've got partners that are going to scale up the 4680. Why is this battery cool? Well, it can extend driving range for EVs. It has 5 times the capacity of 2170s. That means you need less cells for the same battery pack. It's lower cost. It is more energy efficient, more energy dense. And again, it'll bring them much more supply chain security with Panasonic. Again, another source. And they can start sticking these 4680s in more cars. They won't be constrained by production. And Panasonic, I think they've been building batteries for more than 30 years. So they know what to do and they know how to scale. So shout out to Panasonic too. And the question is, do other companies have the ability to embrace 4680 technology? Not yet, no. And they're all retracing anyway. So that takes us to the next part of the story, and that is how the competition is faltering. But first, we'll talk about some of the good stuff as well. First of all, global sales EV leaderboard. And people say, oh, EV sales suck and it's a dying business. No, it's not. No. This is from AJ. A brilliant chart he put together, all the top players. Basically, there's Tesla and BYD, a little bit of Volkswagen, which is retracing and closing down factories, and then the rest, all crumbs. Winner takes most. I've been saying this for years on this channel. Tesla is the clear leader, and it does lead in BEVs, and it does lead in Q3 based on deliveries. BYD is the only company close to Tesla in terms of BEV sales, but not even remotely close in terms of BEV revenue, because they sell a lot of like $10,000, $15,000 cars, whereas Teslas are 3 times the price. Volkswagen is in deep trouble. It's all over the news now. I think AJ predicted this last year. He's a top-notch analyst. BMW is in trouble. I'll get into that in a minute too. And Stellantis is burning cash. No EV programs, ready to die. It's just a murderer's row of death and destruction across here. But let's look at some of the news. First of all, media will tell you Tesla China is failing. And Elon Musk will tell you Tesla China is running at full capacity. Believing the news is silly. Our Shanghai factory is running at max capacity. That's it. They can't go any faster to deal with the demand. And yes, 2024 started off a little bit weak, but now it's about to surpass 2023 as everything is scaling. Remember, the market share is now 24 basis points or 8% above the 3-month trailing average of 3.1%. Tesla is the 7th best-selling brand on the planet. Model Y is the best-selling car on the planet. China kicks out 71% Model Y, 29% Model 3 now. Model 3 is ramping. I'm seeing them turn up all over the streets now with the skinny headlights. That's how you spot them. And they had the 3rd best second month of the quarter ever in the history of Tesla. And that's pretty much all I can remember. So Tesla's on fire again in China. But there's more. Tesla Australia, shout out to all the Australians if they're around here. You can see from Sawyer Merritt, Car Sales, Australia's #1 website, has awarded the Tesla Model Y rear-wheel drive the best family EV in 2024, and Model 3 rear-wheel drive the best city EV in 2024. That's it. So Australia, and all the Australians I know are crying out for a Cybertruck. They can't wait to get it. Also, crushed ice news. I've been talking a lot about how the demise of ice will happen really, really fast. This is the melting ice in China. We've gone from 96.6% of car sales to 46.1% in just 5 years. This is what an S-curve does to the companies that are being disrupted or the technologies that are being disrupted. ICE means internal combustion vehicles. I mean, it runs on petrol or diesel or gasoline or whatever you want to call it, wherever you are in the world. And the market share is collapsing in China. 50% mark is the fast part. So the first 20% is slow, the next 30% fast, and the 30% after that fast. There will be pretty much, in 3 years, no ICE cars sold in China, unless they'll be used for long distance, heavy duty type stuff. And that is crazy disruption. Also, BYD is hitting a wall. Again, shout out to AJ and Sanjay for sharing this with me. BYD is hitting a BEV sales wall. They are hurting, and they are very low margin vehicles. They probably actually lose money on their BEVs. And Geely has ultra low profile profits and looks like they're about to turn negative and become unprofitable. So that is not good. And Geely is a conglomerate of a whole bunch of different brands. I can't even remember what they are. And what is super interesting, and there's a lot you can read into this too. I'll be on with the Cyber Bulls on Friday, but here you can see, shout out Super Soul Man, 2 versus 18. Tesla wins. Imagine the margins. So BYD generated only 6% more revenue than Tesla in August, with 18 models versus Tesla having only 2 models. And what people may say is like, who cares about the number of models? But when you have many models, you've got many chairs and many interfaces and engines and batteries and structures and parts and sized windows and all that, wheels. Everything is far more complicated to make. And this means they're going to make a lot less profit if they're even making profit on these vehicles. And shout out to Volkswagen biting the dust. And these are the group that mocked Elon Musk and Tesla in 2020, saying these Silicon Valley idiots don't know what they're doing. Guess who's laughing now? Yep, Volkswagen. You can see here, currently trades near the great financial crisis low, excluding the COVID panic. Volkswagen Group's share price is down 64% from the all-time high and about to tank further. They're shutting down factories, 2 major ones, for the first time in the history of Volkswagen, which has been around since World War II. Stunning to even think about. This is disruption. This is the torch being brought to these companies. And BMW is also hit and tied up with this, same with Volkswagen, where BMW recall and Volkswagen job threat deepens the German industrial crisis, not just car makers, but all industry. German industry is undergoing the pronounced downturn in the history of Germany. Yet, this continues to look different from previous ones from Deutsche Bank, and it's about to get uglier. This is why Drago, I said yesterday in Okta, they need $1 trillion to pump into the European economy to bring innovation back, or else they're going to continue to shrivel and die. This is alarm bells, but the problem is you need to take these actions before you're on the decline, because once you're in the death spiral, it's very difficult to turn things around. So I hope they get that. Anyway, BMW is also planning to scrap future guidance, 2024 guidance. And AJ warned this as well. He saw this coming. Headline figures were hiding severe cash flow issues, and you're seeing that. How many times have you heard me say free cash flow? FCF is what matters. These guys are now having a major issue to make some type of announcement and scrap the free cash flow and maybe future guidance indications, because they have turned red, and it's about to get a lot redder, mostly caused by this. Okay, they're not competitive with EVs, and ICE is dead. ICE is melting. So that's BMW, but it's not just BMW. We have Honda from Bloomberg. Honda is slashing jobs and has paused production at 3 of its plants in China. Wow. Honda is a lean, mean machine like Toyota, and they can't even compete. They're just shuttering everything. And that's just how disruption happens. And then you've got jokers like Ludicrous. I call them Ludicrous Motors. Lucid. They are planning. Plans. I think who is that? Stephen Mark Ryan says plans. It's so funny. Has released the first teaser image of their upcoming $50,000 Model Y competitor, which is currently slated to launch in late 2026. That'll be 5 years late, $25,000 too expensive. NGMI not going to make it. When they say late 2026, that means at the earliest late 2027. It's not going to work. The world will be a very different place. The Model Y will be 25K or less, and there'll be cheaper models, better models, and they'll all be driving themselves. Crazy, crazy. So if you're in that stock, sell it or short it. And tariffs on Chinese Teslas to EU to fall further. It's good news for Tesla in the top left. Tariffs on China Model 3 imported into Europe reduced further to just 7.8%. Before it was 9%, down from 20.8%, which is good news. It helps the Europeans get their cars cheaper without tariffs. But some people in Europe do not like it, especially Spanish Prime Minister. Spain make a lot of cars. They've got a lot of car makers. So the European Union should rethink its plans to oppose impose additional tariffs of up to 36% on Chinese-made electric vehicles. You can't stop disruption. You can't stop innovation. Fighting it, putting tariffs on it was not going to solve your problem. Wake up. Don't forget, for those who want to profile themselves, here's this little interruption here. You can do a free quiz, profiler quiz, to identify which legendary investor you will like and what your strengths are and what your weaknesses are. The most important thing in investing is knowing your blind spots. There'll be a link back there for it. And Cybertruck news. More Cybertruck cop cars are out there. Irvine, California Police Department has just spent a bunch of money on their Foundation series, and it's been upfitted with upfit. It's already bulletproof and stuff, so I think they just put lights on. That's it. I know Oracle have built a cop system interface, which now runs natively on the screen in Cybertrucks too. So every cop will want one. Who wouldn't want one? And also, quick reminder as well, shout out to Larry Goldberg, friend of the channel. And this is the thing that people are not getting. Not only are all the S-curves colliding at the same time, and all the synergy is colliding, but Tesla do everything at scale, and all of Elon Musk's companies do. They can build the biggest rocket ship in the world in 8 weeks. And the government takes longer than that to move a piece of paper to approve a liftoff. That's how fast everything at scale is. And this is from Starlink. Just 10 months after opening our factory in Bastrop, Texas, the Starlink team has built 1 million Starlink kits. And everybody, all around the world, especially in remote places, whether it's the west of Ireland or in an island in Indonesia, wherever you may be, Brazil, you want Starlink. And it's fast as hell. 0.5 gigabit speed, from what I hear. And the coolest thing, ending on a positive note, after all that disruption and destruction, this is the coolest note of the day. From the Wallet Inspector, Discord sent yesterday, last night at like 11 p.m., I think. The Tesla owner at work posted this today, saying it was left on his windscreen this morning. Tesla envy is in effect. And this is, hi Tesla owner. I'm looking for a Tesla owner to pick up my daughter and girlfriend this coming Thursday, 29th, as a birthday present. Pickup would be from Phoenix Primary School, and drop-off would be wherever that is, Stockholm. Would be happily pay for your time. Wouldn't that be cool? And Tesla owners will do it for you. They will gladly come and help make a dream come true. That's the story for today, everybody. Hope you like and subscribe. There's a Tesla-only playlist here. At the end, you'll see it. If you just like Tesla stuff, just like the people that just like Bitcoin stuff, Tesla stuff, they own all their bags separated, and that's what we're doing. So, thank you all for coming. This is, by far, the #1 disruptor on the planet. That's why we like it. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Sean Donnelly, K8, and all the mods in the chat, and everybody for coming. Have a great day. Bye.